Hello, this is Wendy James. I wanted to take a moment of your time and show you how to look at students that need to be progress monitored based on beginning of year data, our universal screener. So I'm going to use Emily's data today as our example, but basically what we have done for grade 3 ELA is I, the lead, Wendy James, have downloaded all the data for third graders. And we had about 674 students that had data in our database. And then we looked at, because of a universal screener, we want to look at the bottom 10% of students. And so for that amount of data, 674, that would be 67 students. And then what I did is I just grabbed those bottom 67. And then for third grade, that came up to students that were reading 0 to 29 words correct per minute. And then I filtered based upon the teacher of record, the content teacher, and I've gotten Emily's data here. So that's what you see highlighted in yellow. So out of the 67 students in third grade, Emily is an EIP teacher. She has 11 students that she's going to progress monitor at the very least. Now, she might have other students. She might have a direct parent referral that the instructional specialists are working on. She might have a parent that's reached out. Maybe the student's reading a higher words correct per minute, but maybe there's something else, like maybe writing, that they are progress monitoring. But we're really talking right now that bottom 10% using the universal screener, and for third grade, it's oral reading fluency, or the ORF. So Emily's got these 11 students she needs to progress monitor. So we've identified who she needs to progress monitor. Now let's identify the what. What will we use? So you want to go to SharePoint, and I've given you a document with this link. But we want to use, first of all, you're going to intervene, right? You're going to work with the student, and you're going to provide those interventions. Now, if a student is 0, let's go back, 0 to 20 words correct per minute, they're already in striving readers. And so your intervention would be striving readers. It would have been letter patterns the last cycle. And then now this cycle, you are in the blends and digraphs striving readers. So that's going to be your intervention for those students. But then you have students that are outside of the striving readers, and that's where you really have to pinpoint what interventions am I using that are research-based. What am I using with my students on a regular basis? That would be my intervention. So that's what we need to identify. So you want to go into SharePoint. This is not an all-inclusive list, but this will definitely give you a good start. And we have a document that was uploaded by Leah Falls, and it's titled Recommended Interventions for Grades 3 through 5. So let's click there. And then that'll be our document. And she's done a wonderful job in listing the different areas of need for reading. And then we've got fluency, and that's kind of where we are, or reading fluency. And then repeated reading is probably one of the biggies that is used. She's given you some guidelines here and some interventions and things that you can use in your small groups with them. So we've identified the interventions. Now we need to look at the progress monitoring. We want to make sure, are these interventions working? So that's where we're going to go back into SharePoint and then go into the progress monitoring tab. And of course we are in third grade, so we'll go to third. And then specifically for our students' oral reading fluency, we're going to use the Passage Reading Fluency DIBELS Progress Monitoring, so just click there. Now, there are two ways that you can actually record your data. You can do it old school, where you pull these score sheets up, you print them out, you load the PowerPoint just like you do for DIBELS for the student to read, and then you can record the data on your sheet. That's the first step, and it's loading here. And that's your old score sheet, your running record, you might have called it. Give it just a moment to load. And you can see here it looks pretty familiar to you. You've got the title of the passage. We've got a word count. You're just going to mark it just like you do with your Dibbles beginning of year. And I've got numbers 1 through 7 here, and you can create your own. Or you can use the Hi-Fi app. Lots of teachers are using that, and it works well if you have an iPad. So either way is totally fine. So you've intervened, you have progress monitored, and then now you need to enter your progress monitoring data into Infinite Campus. So let's talk about that. So you've gotten your data, but we need to put it in a central location so that your lead can see the data, so that any intervention specialist can see the data, so the RTI coordinator can see the data. And the way to do that is to log into Infinite Campus, go to Campus Tools, just like you would if you were entering a note or a contact log, search the student, and you can search by student ID with advanced search, and then go over to the left to Index and then RTI. Now once you're there, you're going to get a screen that looks like this. And then click on the RTI Progress Monitoring tab here, and then you have two choices. The first time you go to input your information, it's going to take a few minutes. You really have to think about all aspects of the student with the interventions, where they started. You want the baseline data there, and that's going to be the new status. So you'll click right here, and then it opens up a list of things that you need to fill out. And then once you do that, and you may need to make sure you include the intervention, your frequency, your duration, when you started, etc., then you're going to get something that looks like this down here after you save. And then each week, or bi-weekly, as often as you progress monitor, then you're going to go back into Infinite Campus and enter your subsequential data entry points. And then you'll do that by just clicking here. That would be like your previous entry. And then you're just going to go in and enter the date and the type of data and then the data you collected. And so it works out pretty easily. It's kind of a lot of work at the beginning, not a lot, but just more than the previous entry data. But once you do that, you'll feel very good and solid and secure. You can share student ID numbers and student names with your lead. She can easily go in and check out what interventions you're using, looking at the data if students are progressing, and then can help in providing maybe some help, some support in what other interventions you could use. So I just wanted to share that with you. I hope that helps. So now maybe you have the who you're going to progress monitor based on our data, the lowest 10%. Then you're going to have the what you're going to do with your interventions and your progress monitoring. And then last but not least, you're going to use like, where am I going to put this data? Where do I house all of it? I hope this was helpful. If you need further help, just reach out to me. I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you for taking your time to watch this learning video.